We're pleased to welcome now Leah Ferretti, Director of Mississippi Ready. What about it there, Leah? This is the big launch date, right?
Yes. Hey, Gerard. It's always a good day when I get to see you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So tell us about Mississippi Ready. What was the idea behind this, and how will you be involved?
Well, I'm so excited to share with you and our listeners about Mississippi Ready. Mississippi Ready is an initiative to ensure all students receive a K-12 education that prepares them for their future. And unfortunately, not every child has access to a great education that prepares them, that's unique to their needs. So Mississippi Ready was an idea that came about that parents need resources, parents need help and guidance. When I started my journey about 10 years ago, there wasn't a roadmap. There wasn't any other entity to help parents except Empower Mississippi. I came upon them just Googling, what can I do to help my child? And they led me to the Educational Scholarship account. Well, in Mississippi, we have other options. We have other options to help funding, whether your child has special needs, they need certain therapies, or they just need a different educational environment. So Mississippi Ready is a platform that helps parents and guides them on what their learning options are currently available in the state of Mississippi and what our options could look like in the future.
Yeah, so this is a little different than just advocating for more choice in education settings. This is really about providing resources and information and guidance to parents, to families, so they understand all the options presently available to them, because it can be a bit of a maze to navigate.
Oh, absolutely. Being a parent is hard enough, and especially in these days, money's tight, groceries are expensive. We shouldn't have any more hardships on our plate. And navigating your educational landscape shouldn't be difficult either. Yeah. And unfortunately, there's not a book for anyone that, or a hand guide for a parent to read, like, hey, this is what I can do. So Mississippi Ready prepared that and has given that to the public so parents can go to our website to see what options that are available for them.
Tell us the website.
www.mississippiready.org.
Real easy, mississippiready.org. And so what sorts of resources will they find immediately when they go to the splash page of Mississippi Ready?
Well, when they go to the page, they will be introduced to Learning Guide Leah. She'll navigate you through your learning landscape and what options are available. So you have traditional public schools. That's where my kids are in right now. You have charter schools, you have private schools, you have homeschools. There are so many different choices. However, not every child has access to all those choices. They may just have access to that one choice. So we also want to help remove those barriers and restrictions for families to allow them to be able to choose what's best for their kid.
Yeah, so I'm on the site right now. It's really neat looking. Current Mississippi options is under the drop-down menu heading Get Ready. So there you go. Everything you need to know about what's available. You've also got, I think, some examples of how other families, have utilized the various options available to them in the state of Mississippi.
Yes. And nothing's more powerful than a personal story. And that's what brought me to Empower and brought me to Mississippi Ready. So our journey began about 10 years ago when our oldest son, Thomas, was diagnosed with dyslexia. He was in a great traditional public school that just simply didn't have the resource at that time to help him. So we really didn't have any options in our area. After researching and investigating, we decided that I would go back to school and get my master's degree, which I had no intentions of ever going back to school. Never say never, right, with children. Went back to school, got my master's degree in dyslexia therapy to provide services for my children. We pulled them, put them in a private choice that allowed me the flexibility to educate my children how I saw fit. So with the Educational Scholarship account, we were able to customize their education, and they were successful. So fast forward to today, we have relocated to another area. We're in Madison, and our children are in Madison Public Schools, and they are thriving because I was able to have a choice. And I was able to take charge of their education, so they are able to assimilate in a traditional public school now.
Yeah, so with the Education Scholarship account, just so we can explain that to our audience, it allows the funds appropriated by the state to the child's education, just the state portion of that. There is a local component as well that funds education, to follow that child to the setting that is most appropriate for them, and specifically for children that are dyslexic. They could perhaps may be attached to a public school where that school doesn't have the necessary resources to educate a child with dyslexia, but you can use those funds to enroll them in a school that does.
Yeah, and it makes sense, doesn't it?
Total sense.
We pay taxes to educate our children, and if a fit doesn't, even if they're at a great school, it may not work for that individual child, and that was the case for my children. They needed those extra resources. And sometimes not all schools have those resources. Right. So we were able to utilize that, and it was great. It really helped our family. It made the choice easier to be able to send to a private school and afford tuition, because not all families can afford private therapies and tuition. It's pretty steep.
Yeah. Well, the point is we have children right now that need this, who are being left behind, and that's the idea of trying to assist parents find those proper settings.
Yes, absolutely. And no child should be left behind. The No Child Left Behind Act, what did we do? We left a lot of kids behind, especially when we're not looking at them as individuals. Yeah. We're funding systems and institutions. Why? We should be funding the student, the child, because every child is different.
And Leah, haven't we learned, experts in this field, haven't we learned that there's kind of a window of opportunity with a child that you really need to take advantage of that to ensure they get the proper education in the proper environment? Or if they don't, trying to go back and account for that and catch up is really difficult and expensive.
Oh, absolutely. And I can speak to that personally. All three of my children are dyslexic. I tell people, I'm so lucky. I'm probably going to win the lottery one day, so I should buy lottery tickets more often, because each of my children are dyslexic. Now, our oldest, we had him identified his second tour of kindergarten, as we like to call it. But that was early identification, but still a little too late. With my other children, I started therapy as soon as they started developing language. Game changer for them. So early identification is the absolute key, and it's the greatest window of opportunity for our kids.
So we have these options for dyslexic and special needs children as well. Those have been in place almost 10 years. The legislature passed measures to implement that, but we've stopped short of universal school choice. We haven't gotten that done, and we have a few other options. We have charter schools, of course, which provide some availability of options to parents, but we still really haven't equaled what our neighboring states, for example, have done.
And it's very disheartening because we really led the way a few years ago in having school choice options for our families, and then we just stopped. It became stagnant. And our other states saw how great that parents need these policies. They need these choices, and they want them. So policymakers listened to the voters and gave them what they wanted, and that's why we're here today, because Mississippi is ready. Parents are ready. We are ready, and we're wanting change, and we're wanting more options. So that's why we're pushing forward now.
It's wildly popular with parents, as you say, and with citizens of our state, but we can't seem to push it through our legislature. Hopefully that'll be a different scenario. So tell me what you're about to do. You're about to go on tour, I guess, promoting the Mississippi Ready program?
Yeah. So we've created our platform to educate parents, and really going around and getting the word out. It's already out. I have been talking to parents for over a decade about what their options are. God tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Hey, Leah, you need to help pave this road for other families." So I've already been speaking to families over the past years about what their options are and what they could look like and what they should look like. So we will be getting out in the communities, speaking to more families, to parents, helping them help navigate their educational landscape and what we need here in Mississippi.
When you encounter parents, Leah, that you inform about these various options, perhaps in situations they weren't even aware of, which is really what the purpose of your platform and your program is, what kind of reaction do you get?
An astonished reaction, usually, because they're like, "I didn't know this." I just messaged a mom from the Madison Moms Facebook page today about, like, "Hey, these are your options. This is what you have," and they're like, "I didn't even know that was available." So Mississippi Ready, I am excited about it. We're going to do great work. We're doing great things, and parents want to know. They want this information, and they deserve to have this information.
Well, Leah, you are an outstanding spokesperson and advocate for education freedom in the great state of Mississippi, and I look forward to how this plays out with the MississippiReady.org program. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you, Leah,
Gerard.
for coming in. Yep, we're coming right back, folks, in the Element Wealth studio.